one of the great performances that you will see in baseball history goes to Trey Yesavage, and the Blue Jays are now a win away from the World Series. Not just making the World Series, they've done that. They are a win away from being World Series champions. Let's discuss what is going on. A magical run for the Blue Jays continues. Trey Yesavage is putting on the performance of a lifetime, and because of that, the Blue Jays are within a win of the World Series for the first time since 1993. And just what more can you say about this kid? It is absolutely unbelievable what he is doing. I believe I saw the stat. He now has more strikeouts in playoff play than he did in the regular season. We're coming up onto the point where he had more strikeouts in the playoffs than he did in like single A earlier this year, and he had a lot there. It is unbelievable what is happening with this kid. And I remember as the season was going on, and you could see he's starting to make his move. By the time he gets to double A, it's like, okay, we could have something here. But I kind of thought, and I think we've talked about this before, guys, but I kind of thought that it would be like David Price in '08 with the Tampa Bay Rays. '08, yeah, it was '08. Where you have this kid, he's worked his way through, and now we can't put that much on him, so we're going to put him in the bullpen. He's gonna be a leverage guy like Aaron Sanchez with the Jays, where they were trying to keep the innings down, and all of a sudden he turns into an elite closer. And in hindsight, maybe should have stayed there. But he becomes this elite late innings guy to help him out because you're trying to save everything, right? And so I thought that's what his role would be with a bullpen that was having a bit of a wobble at times. Jimmy Garcia going down with the injury that, as it went along, kind of obviously we're seeing now was going to be season ending. And Hoffman having his ups and downs and the whole bullpen having their ups and downs. I thought Yesavage would come in and just be a guy who would be electrifying in the 7th or 8th inning. And that would be that. I don't think anyone could have, in their wildest dreams, thought that this was going to be the case, where he was going to go out and set a World Series record for most strikeouts by a rookie in a World Series game, most strikeouts by a human without walking anybody, and just absolutely dominating a juggernaut of a lineup. When you look at where the Blue Jays went this playoff, and Yesavage specifically, hot knife through butter on the Yankees, right? Like no hit them in, 5 2/3, I think it was, 5 1/3. Pitched into the 6th inning, no hit baseball. Okay, excellent, right? Fantastic, can't believe it, dream come true, unbelievable. But the Yankees could get got, right? Like we knew that. They have Judge, who was great in this playoffs, but before that wasn't a great playoff performer. They have Stanton, who wasn't great this season, but is a great playoff performer, and it's funny how they switched. But the rest of the lineup, yeah. If they're not hitting home runs, you can strike them out. And so that wasn't like it was incredible, don't get me wrong. But if you were going to kind of look back at it, it's okay, you can explain that one away. The Mariners, good lineup. But there's some swing and miss there, right? Like, Cal Raleigh is a big bomber, but he also had a 247 batting average this year. Julio Rodriguez has reached some very high highs, but you can get him as well. Kind of same with the rest of them. Eugenio Suarez, 40 some odd home runs, but he's hitting 211. And Josh Naylor, there's some swing and miss, whatever. But this Dodgers lineup, it is Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, All-Star, All-Star, All-Star. Two incredibly clutch performers when it comes to playoff time, and then Pages at the end. And for him to run through this team in that way is insane. Like, this is the highest level that you could possibly do this at. And nothing phases him. Nothing rattles him. He didn't really have his splitter in game 1, so he adjusted through the slider a little bit more. Wasn't perfect, but we got through it. And now in this game, everything is working. And he's going at Shohei Ohtani. He's going at Mookie Betts. He's going at Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers get a run, doesn't bother him. Next pitch, let's go. Like, it is robotic what this 22-year-old can do in the World Series. And I just like, you could, if he went out and it was 4 innings and it was a bit of a dud, you can explain that, right? Because he's a kid and it's the World Series. But he just, nothing gets to him. And Tom Verducci told the story on TikTok. I don't know if he told it on the broadcast as well, but I saw a TikTok video where he was saying he's warming up. It's at Dodger Stadium. It's his first road playoff game. And the crowd behind him is just relentlessly heckling him. With just like, you're a bum, like just what hecklers do, right? And as he's warming up, he turns to Pete Walker and goes, "Man, I love this." Like, it's just, you talk about having that dog. This kid has that dog in him. And the skills, the talent, the head, all of it, it's coming together in a perfect form to help the Blue Jays to get to within a win of the World Series. So just full marks to Trey Yesavage on a historically brilliant night for the Blue Jays starter. Going back into the chat, Tall John, if the Jays win, Trey for MVP, is it a long shot? If his first outing was good, not great. If his first outing would have been like what Gausman did in game 2, then I think you could definitely get there. Even still, like it is close enough that he is, it's going to be close enough if they win in game number 6 that it's going to be fresh in people's minds and they might get it to him. I think one thing that could push it over the edge is if he comes out in a bullpen role, right? Like, maybe not necessarily Madison Bumgarner 14, where he comes in for the last 5 innings and just mows everyone down. Let's not expect that. But if he comes in for a high leverage inning or 2, then I think that probably is cherry on top. Vlad is going to be tough to beat given that bat has woken up. And Alejandro Kirk is making a pretty sneaky case as well. If the Dodgers come back and do this thing, it would be tough to take it away from Shohei Ohtani. And even if the Blue Jays win, Shohei has an opportunity to get it anyway based off of the wildness that was making it on base 9 times in game number 3. But yes, Trey Yesavage certainly has an opportunity to get there. And thank you for thanking me for the analysis. Of course, anytime you want to talk anything, let me know in here in the chat. Credit the Jays too, masterful job this season on getting him ready. That is another thing where you have an opportunity to, like, a lot of teams would, no, we got to ease him in. We can't put this much on him. We can't whatever. I appreciate that the Blue Jays, this is what you should do when you are winning baseball games and when you are competitive. And obviously, like, even as he's working his way up the system this year, I don't know if we thought the Blue Jays were win away from the World Series competitive, but we knew this was going to be a competitive baseball team. And at this point, I'm not saying like innings limits and player development be damned. I'm not saying throw this kid out there for like Jack Morris in 1991 and he's going 10 shutout innings. Let's not do that. But you do have to, I think, kind of look at who are our best 26 that we can put out there. And experience level, all this, that, the other thing, gone, out the window, doesn't matter. Just give me who the best 26 players are that give us an opportunity to win. And now they know the kid. They probably, again, you can never see this coming, but they know that there is a mentality that he can handle this sort of a situation and this sort of a limelight. So, but yes, credit the Blue Jays, absolutely. The development was there. And we've been on the Blue Jays about not being able to develop pitchers and not being able to develop anybody. But they've certainly thrown that back in our faces as this season has gone on. It's been incredible to watch. Everyone on the Dodgers lineup had a strikeout that from Toxic. Yeah, that's... I'm sure, I know that there are stats of when that happened before. I can't remember a time where I've seen that. And again, at any level where you can go 1 through 9 in a thing and it's, well, that guy struck out, that guy struck out, that guy struck out. Just incredible what he was able to do. Tall John, he soaked in the energy like it was a superpower. It did kind of seem like it's like a video game character where they just use all that energy and it builds up into a super pitch and it blows through. And the other thing I like is that he he's not trying to be something he isn't, right? Like, he is not trying to be, oh, I need to go out there and I need to be super stoic and I need to whatever. He is showing some emotion. He is just doing whatever he needs to do to be comfortable out there and get the job done. And as a Blue Jays fan, like, just all of this whole run, this doesn't happen for us, right? Like, there have been so many times where, all right, this is the thing. This is the move this is the offseason, this is the move, this is whatever that is going to get this team over the hump. Obviously getting a lot of Blue Jays content on social media, and because I am of a certain vintage, but I do like the old stuff as well. Again, shout out seaofdead403.ca, old Calgary brands. But getting some old news clips from the Blue Jays from like back in the day and seeing the Blue Jays think Benito Santiago is going to be the one that puts them over the edge this year. And okay, the Blue Jays went out and they got Roger Clemens. And now he's going to be the one that helps the Blue Jays get back to that championship level. Okay, well, that didn't work. Well, we'll bring in JP Ricciardi and we're going to do analytics and we're going to do a rebuild and we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. All right, well, that didn't work. Let's just go out and spend a shitload of money, shall we? And now you can't beat this Blue Jays team because they went out and added to already an all-star in center field in Vernon Wells. They brought in Lyle Overbay and Troy Gloss, and BJ Ryan, one of the best closers in baseball, is on the team. And now Benji Molina is signing with the Blue Jays. This is a juggernaut baseball team that will not be stopped. And okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, now let's pull off one of the wildest trades that's ever happened with this franchise and trade basically nothing and Adeiny Hechavarria to the Miami Marlins and get Josh Johnson and Mark Burley and Jose Reyes, and there was a couple other pieces in there that I'm forgetting. And this is going to be the thing. It's a new era of Blue Jays baseball, and here we go. And all the times that we have been promised that this would be the thing that gets us over the hump, it never worked out. Sometimes it worked a little bit with 2015, right? We got ALCS, 2016 as well, but it's never fully lived up to the potential that we thought it would. And with prospects, it's Dustin McGowan is going to be lights out. Well, can't stay healthy. But Brendan Morrow, they found something in Brendan Morrow, but he can't really stay healthy, and then he goes to the Cubs and is an elite level guy. It's all the promises that we have had over the years, and this team now that nobody saw coming is the one that gets us further than anything we ever thought possible. With Nate Pearson, this was supposed to be what Dustin McGowan was, what Nate Pearson was, what Alek Manoah was. This is what those guys were supposed to be. The big guys coming up through the system with Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. This is what, maybe not Vlad, but to a certain extent, this is what guys like Rios and Lind and Snyder. I remember Eric Crozier was going to be that for a second. That's what these guys were supposed to be. And so you just have so many, no, I promise, this is the one that's going to work out. And eventually you just accept that maybe it's not going to. And then Vlad comes up, and then we have a pandemic and we can't really enjoy him all that much. And then he's hitting like an all-star, and it's okay, we got him. And then there's a couple years where he wasn't. It's like, is this really going to be another one again? And now it is every promise that we were given fulfilled and then some with it. So it is unbelievable to just see it work. For the first time in almost my entire lifetime, the plan has worked. And it's funny because it's plan B, right? This was not supposed to be what this team was. It was supposed to be Shohei. It was supposed to be Freddie Freeman, honestly. Jose Ramirez was going to be a Blue Jay, right? All of it, like half the Dodgers. Yamamoto, they weren't as in on Yamamoto, but he was going to be a guy, right? And Juan Soto, and all these different players were supposed to be the magic pill that fixed everything. And now, instead of getting those guys, you have this group. And now they have them within a win of the World Series. It's all how it has played out. It is the stuff that movies are made of. Back in the chat here. Hello, I'm Doc. Thank you for throwing a few of those in today. Appreciate it. Toxic. I've seen this a few times, but did John Schneider's bad decisions in the Game 3 gauntlet actually help the Blue Jays? A lot of the Jays starters were taken out early and therefore got rest for Games 4 and 5. Seeing that a little bit, I guess maybe, like in hindsight, for sure, it would be better if they would have won that game, and then they could be in the World Series is over. But I mean, they did help them get some rest for sure. And like we talked about the other day, I think a few of the decisions actually were out of his control, right? Like Bo Bichette, that's the time you pinch run for him because he is hurt, right? Like he's not exactly getting doubles here, right? So there's some of that worked in. Kirk, I believe he got hurt, and that's why they made the decision they did. The Barger one, inexcusable, but yeah, he looks fresh, and the Dodgers do. They look worn out. Absolutely, they do. But I do think that there is a little bit of the Blue Jays are a slightly younger team. The Dodgers got to this point a year ago as well, and so they have just played a lot more baseball than Toronto has. So I do think there is something to that, for sure. I think that whether it was the managerial decisions that ended up working out or not, the Blue Jays certainly recovered from that game better than the Dodgers did. And I liked Addison Barger when they asked him, how do you guys recovered? It was just like pre-workout and coffee, man. That's what got us here, which is just the fuel. But again, what Addison Barger is, that's what we thought Brett Lawrie was going to be, right? Like you can go to all of these guys like, okay, well, that's what this guy was supposed to be, and getting us there. Tall John, the Jays this year are not stacked like the 93 team, but they are the train that could. Yes, 100%. Like that 93 team, you look back on it and you just laugh as they're doing the introductions. Like that is one of the most stacked teams in the modern era of baseball. It's unbelievable when you go and look at that team. And again, this isn't that group, but they're hitting like it. And it is also taking advantage of the approach of kind of the new era of baseball and finding where, like, this is, everyone's kind of using like the David versus Goliath, Tall John talking about the underdogs and everything like that. But there is a little bit of a Moneyball aspect where you just see where there is an inefficiency and you pick it up there. Everyone is 3 true outcomes right now: walks, strikeouts, home runs. Well, let's just get some guys who can put the ball in play and find it that way. And it's working out absolutely perfectly. The Jays look like the underdog in this series, like the 2004 Flames team. I think that's a pretty good comparison, actually, for people in Calgary, anyway, and people who cheered for the Flames in that run. Like this is. It's a Ginla and Kipper, and then a bunch of guys who just tried really, really hard and knew what their roles were and kind of fit into it that way. And we talked about it after Game 3, where everyone felt like they were trying to be the hero. They got out of that here in Game 4. And Vladdy's hit a couple home runs that have helped everyone kind of set in. But Ernie Clement's not trying to kill the ball. He's just putting it in play. Jimenez isn't trying to relive the glory of the 2 home runs that he hit in the ALCS. He's just putting the ball in play. Now, I'm begging the guy to lay off of a first pitch breaking ball ever in his life, but he's still putting the ball in play. The Blue Jays understand that, like, every player understands what their job is, what they're supposed to do, and they are all doing it at an extremely high level. And that has them up 3-2 on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The other good part of what Yesavage did in game number 5 is the length that he was able to give the Blue Jays as well, going into the 7th inning and only requiring a couple of relievers to come into the game. And so now, looking at it after Bassett goes a couple in game 4, following a very good performance from Shane Bieber, and Bassett goes 2, and then you get 1 inning and 1 inning, and now Yesavage goes 7, and you go 1 inning, 1 inning. Now with the day off, maybe not Lauer, but basically everybody else is ready to go from a bullpen standpoint. And honestly, probably Lauer at this point. Maybe not for 68 pitches again, but he should be good to go. Fluharty should be good to go. Hoffman, Dominguez, maybe not Varland. We're getting to the point of overexposing Varland a little bit, but he probably will at least be able to give you some innings if you need them. Yesavage was able to let the entire bullpen just rest and get back into kind of that regular swing of things. So, no, heaven forbid, not Little. Absolutely not Little. No. Although, if the Jays are up by 13 tomorrow, let Little come in and get a couple of outs, you know? And then yet, let either Yesavage or Scherzer close the deal. But, yeah, I just think being able to let the Blue Jays set the offense or set the bullpen up again is in a very, it's not the biggest story from that game because Yesavage's dominance and records and all that, that kind of takes the cake. But what he was able to do to let the bullpen get settled was huge, I think. And credit to Bieber and Bassett in game number 4 for helping the Blue Jays out in that kind of a situation as well. The Blue Jays are putting on a small ball clinic for the ages and can hit for power. Yes, I would agree with that. Like, the one thing, couple more base running mistakes than you would like, and that's going back to game 3. But aside from that, yeah, it's just next man up, hit all over the place. And they are moving runners over at times. And I would even like to see them run a little bit more on a catcher who was banged up coming into the playoffs and a pitching staff that doesn't do an amazing job of holding guys on. I would like to see the Blue Jays try to run maybe a little bit more in some of these other situations. But I mean, far be it from me to critique what the Blue Jays are doing. We've talked a lot about the pitching side. On the offense, I mean, what a start. Davis Schneider, again, kind of happy we didn't do another live show yesterday when the lineup was announced, because like David Schneider, like it's one thing for Lucas to lead off, but I don't like just plugging Schneider into that top spot. He's not really hitting that well in the playoffs, certainly in this series, and he seems to be in a bit of a lull right now. And even when he's going, he's not really the leadoff guy that I would like because he doesn't take enough pitches. And then he swings at the first one and hits it out. So again, very happy that there isn't, I mean, I'm saying it now, but very happy there aren't clips of that coming out after that they put him in the leadoff spot. But just a dream career continuing for Davis Schneider to go from being in the 28th round to hitting a home run to lead off the game in the World Series. But again, it's that approach, it's that aggressive approach that the Blue Jays have, where they kind of understood that Snell was having some control issues in game number 1, right? He was game 1. Yeah. And so, okay, let's try to not do that this time. Tries to get one over right away and just pounces on it immediately. And then Vlad 2 pitches later. I said after game 3, they need Vlad to step up. He does in game 4, and then he sets the table in game 5. And not just with the home run, but then the defensive play and the smacking the bag at first base and the aggressive slide into third as well. All of that is setting this team up in a perfect spot. So they set the table perfectly. And then again, you get to the Dodgers bullpen and they are able to pounce and just fully take advantage. And you can see Dave Roberts in the dugout. He's got a pretty good poker face. He's pissed with how this has played out. Absolutely furious at it. And I don't know who he trusts now going into these. And so if they can deal with Yamamoto and even get him, like, just don't have him pitch a complete game. Just get it out of the Sasaki zone. If you can get it to the set. And honestly, I wonder if for game 6, Sasaki's there for 3, right? Like if they can get Yamamoto through 7 and then, or through 6 and then Sasaki 7, 8, 9. I wonder if they try to go about it that way. Like I think Dave Roberts is going to be really aggressive with how he manages his bullpen in game 6. And that circle of trust that they've talked about on the Blue Jays broadcasts, it's down to 1. And that's probably Roki Sasaki there. So I like the Jays, if they're going to do this bullpen thing again, I think it's going to have to be quite early getting to the pre-Sasaki guys in that Dodgers pen. Oh man, the dad POV of the Schneider home run, absolutely epic. I was wondering, like everyone else, how he was able to film that, because you could see both hands and everything. Like, what are you filming this with? But apparently he had the glasses that record things. But I mean, that was all time great, right? And he has a relative on social media who has been really quick with a lot of things as well and really good. So yes, the David Schneider lore continues and has the most famous pull-out couch now in Canadian sports history, with Addison Barger resting on it before a grand slam nuke in game 1 of the World Series. Pulled the trigger with a fantasy question. We'll get to fantasy football in a little bit. I'm still gushing about my baseball team, but I promise we'll get the fantasy football questions here in just a moment. But I do want to say that I think John Schneider and Pete Walker deserve a lot of credit for what's happening here as well. I have said for a while that I think Pete Walker is a secret weapon for the Blue Jays. And I know there are times where, like, you could look at the overall ERA of the team and see that maybe it's not great. But Pete Walker, I think Pete's specialty is getting the most out of high-level talent. I don't know if he is the best at getting medium talent to a high level, but if you are a high-level pitcher, he can get 100% of that out of you, right? Whether it's like, he got the most out of Steven Matz that one year, and then Robbie Ray turned him into a Cy Young Award winner, and health played a part of that. But the Blue Jays Sports Science Group, I think, helps out there as well. And now, like, Max Scherzer wasn't great at the end of the year, but they've got the most out of them as well. And, like, Bieber, it has started to click in that way. Yesavage, they have figured that out, everything there. And so I know that Schneider gets a lot of crap for how he has managed, and he's not batting 1,000, and we've talked about that. But I think the way he managed the bullpen game to help the Blue Jays win the American League Division Series against the Yankees, and a lot of the decisions that he has made throughout this year, I think lead them to this point. And I also think that the confidence that he has in his group, and that and the way that he has kind of instilled that in everyone, that is the stuff that wins championships. And I think a lot of managers try that. Aaron Boone tries it with the Yankees, where he stands at, no, Volpe's fine. Volpe's good. There's also a little bit of, like, toxic positivity. I don't think you can watch what Volpe did this year and be like, no, there's no problem here. What are you talking about? Like, at that point, you're just lying to people. Volpe knows you're lying. And so if there have been issues, Schneider will call it out. But he's not going to just go away from someone because it struggles for a game or two. Now, I wish he would do that with Little, but he's not going to go away just because things have gone a little bit sideways. Everyone has their role, and Schneider knows that everyone on this roster has an importance, and he has placed that on them, and they have all bought into it as well. And so I think how the Blue Jays have managed this season, where all of these guys have had these opportunities all year. This isn't Nestor Cortez coming in when he hasn't pitched in 21 days to serve up a home run to Freddie Freeman. This isn't, well, this guy hasn't played, aside from Heineman, this guy hasn't played in a month. They have, because of the platoon and because of just how the season went, all of these guys have been in all these different situations all season long. So when they come up in their spots, it's like, yes, it's the World Series, but this is just like the May Series against the Twins where I had to come in and play left field for a little bit. Oh, I can do this. This is fine. Oh, this is just like this situation. Oh, yeah, I'll be fine. And I love that from teams. I wish more teams did that. And obviously you can't experiment too much, as the Blue Jays found out in the regular season, getting into the division series based on a tiebreaker and not having to go through the wild card, setting themselves up for this moment. But keep these guys, like, don't just have them in one situation. This is just what you do. There are some players, I guess, where you have to do that, but recognize that, hey, these are situations that could come up in big moments late in the season. So we're going to need to know what Jimenez does with a runner at second and nobody out. We're going to need to know how Davis Schneider handles batting leadoff and Nathan Lucas batting leadoff. We're going to need to know how Barger does going from the outfield to the infield and going from the infield to the outfield and handling all these things. They've done a really good job of putting these guys in all these situations as the year goes on. So when they come up now in these spots, they're very comfortable with it. And it's not a guy coming in to pinch hit because Pages can't hit and he hasn't played in 2.5 weeks. The platoon and the way the Blue Jays utilize their lineup keeps everyone fresh, everyone engaged, and keeps everyone doing their job. Tall John, also, side note, so happy for Don Mattingly to finally get his reward of a lifetime devoted to baseball. 100%. And I think the Blue Jays have that as well, where you could hear all of them were celebrating, like, yeah, this is for Donnie. This is for Donnie Baseball. He's our guy. That this is for him. So there's a bit of that. But yeah, like, how do you not? There are always stories like that, whether it's a player a veteran going for their first World Series, or it's a manager who wasn't able to get there before. But for Don Mattingly, I think there's a little bit of extra there because he was the guy before the guys in a couple of different spots. Like, he was the best player on the Yankees in, until now, the quietest stretch of Yankee baseball in history in terms of postseason success. Steinbrenner gets suspended and banned and all those things. And he's the one who has to kind of lead the charge and be the face of not a great era of Yankee baseball. And then he can't do it anymore. And that leads to Jeter, Bernie, Posada, Rivera, Tino Martinez, Brocious, O'Neill. It leads to all of those guys. And so he just missed the dynasty era of the Yankees. And then he goes into coaching and he's the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And they get close. It's not quite close enough. He's out. And now the Dodgers have the best team in baseball over the last 5 years. And so now for him to be able to be a part of this and something this special, how do you not love what's going on there? So yes, absolutely a tip of the cap to Donnie Baseball for everything that he has done and him getting to kind of celebrate in this way now. Again, though, to quote Kobe, job's still not done. We're going to do a live stream tomorrow. We'll talk more about Game 6 then. But there's a lot of victory laps being taken right now. And just a reminder that they do still have to win one more. And the guy who they're facing in Game 6 has been the best pitcher of the postseason. Regardless of how great Yesavage has been and everything like that, Yamamoto has been on another level. And that's a tough test. And then you go to Game 7 if this one doesn't work, and anything can happen. So it is not over yet, but still, enjoy the heck out of this, Blue Jays fans, because it has been a wild ride. But Toxic, you're right. Yamamoto, he's going to be tough for this one. Hey, Blue Jays fever is spreading, and let's keep the conversation going. If you could share this video with some of your Blue Jay fan friends, share the breakdown, and we can keep the conversations going. Let me know either in the chat here or in the comments what you think about everything going on with the Toronto Blue Jays.